I'm gonna RIP the city, everybody better know. March the banner of this county every time I'm coming home. When they start to play my music,
Good evening. Portland Metro Records presents Off the Record featuring Jake Clark with Savory Events. They have a bacon ball coming up March 19th. I'm Rob Wessels. So let's get this party started. Jake, tell us about yourself and tell us about the DJ world and DJ music and what you're doing out there in the world.
I think this is actually kind of a common situation in at least event production. I kind of fell into it without necessarily intending to. Probably about 4.5 years ago, I got really into dance music and started DJing and dabbling in music production as well, and kind of took a journey of playing in local clubs in Portland. And really at the time that I got into dance music and started DJing, the scene wasn't very big in Portland. I'd go out to clubs before I was actually playing them, and sometimes I'd be one of 20 people the entire night. And there have been some other production companies in Portland that have really pioneered bringing the scene to a greater focal point. So as a lot of that growth was happening, I was just starting to enter it as well, and started DJing, like I said, playing clubs around town. And then about 2.5 years ago, I got a little bit tired of the club scene. With its growth came some other aspects that I wasn't necessarily appreciative of.
So what's the club scene like? What was it like when you were coming up compared to what it's like now?
I think the biggest difference is I would find that, I would head out to go see an artist at a club that I was really excited about, that had been brought from somewhere else in the States or maybe worldwide. And when I got out to the club, there were a bunch of like-minded people there who were stoked that that artist was being brought to town. And as that evolved, I'd find myself standing in the line at the club going, people would ask me, who's playing tonight? And I'd be like, you're not here to see them? Who are you? So, a little bit of, I'm kind of a hipster about it, admittedly, but.
So are you what they call a hipster DJ then?
Yeah, you don't call me Jake Clark, just call me DJ Hipster.
That's great. So in regards to your shows, what's changed now? What's happening now in the club scene compared to when you started out, as far as like, because you say DJs are artists, and I always envision DJs, because I'm a bit older, as the guys that just spun records. Mm-hmm. So where does the artistry come in now?
Well, I mean, there's that still exists, absolutely. There are DJs who are there for the purpose of playing back-to-back music, and then there are DJs who really take it to another level. I mean, there are a lot of renowned international DJs I look up to who, yes, they produce music, and that's absolutely an aspect of their artistry, but when they're on the turntables, they're cutting and chopping and creating whole new elements, and really the bigger thing to me is creating a whole journey over the course of an hour instead of a 4-minute journey over the course of a song.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so to be able to do that and take your audience on that journey, and sometimes more than an hour, sometimes 2 hours, marathon DJs 4 hours, 12 hours. Mm-hmm. And it's also interesting to look at, within the industry, there are DJs and producers who say that they're much more about the production aspect. And then there are those who really, for them, yes, they produce, but the fulfillment comes in the live performance and the DJing and creating, again, that journey.
So when you're live performing, is it, are you controlling not just the mix of the music and the edits, but are you also controlling the lights and the effects that are going on around the audience? So
one of my partners actually in Savory Events, Ethan Moses, he is our lighting and production guru. And it's been really cool because, and this has been true for all of us with Savory, we've all taken our own growth. We've all found found ways that, things we've learned that have skills we've picked up that, now I'm kind of the more business operations manager side of it. Ethan had always had an interest in lighting, and this was his first foray into it. And as he grew in this world and networked and connected and learned, he's now this amazing production manager, and he creates all of our staging and our lighting. He pre-programs the light show, does live light programming while others are playing, and he also DJs the shows too.
That's great.
Savory Events is half made up of 3 DJs, myself included, who just wanted a platform and an area to play their music. And then the other 3 consist of actually my brother, who is our kind of decor and design manager for all of the thematic elements you see when you come into this immersive environment that we create for Bacon Ball. My girlfriend, who leads Circus Aerial Troupe.
And what's her name?
Her name's Treya Bushel. She's an instructor at Night Flight Aerial, and then she, again, like I said, leads this troupe of ladies as a part with Aerial Muse Collective.
So is that kind of like the Cirque du Soleil where they're hanging off of ropes and ribbon
very
and
similar,
stuff?
yeah.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
this happens at your shows?
Yeah.
So you've got lights, stage setting. It's like walking into a middle of a theater show.
Kind of.
Or a theatrical show, and just busting out your dance moves and enjoying the music.
Exactly, and with that is the opportunity to wear what you can't get away with wearing in public.
Okay.
It's your opportunity to be the weirdest you've wanted to be, and I guarantee you there's someone else weirder than you there. But what a lot of people report is they feel very safe in that environment, safe to be painfully themselves if they want to be. And again, wear what they don't get to wear, and be surrounded by people doing the same thing and accepting that. And it's been a really amazing experience to watch that, for lack of a better word, a lot of people call the Bacon Ball a rave, even though to us it's so much more.
And how did Bacon Ball come to be? Where does the Bacon Ball come from? Was it a fundraiser for pigs who had lost their bacon?
Right, exactly that. I wish it was that. It started unintentionally as a house party. My friend Peter was throwing a house party, after party show for a larger artist that was playing at the Crystal Ballroom called the Polish Ambassador. This was 2.5 years ago.
So did Mom come home and just you thought you were busted and she started cooking up bacon?
Rob, we're not that young. We don't live with our parents.
Okay, just making
Come
sure.
on.
Just making sure.
I'm actually the youngest in the group. Our main demographic is actually mid-30s. And that's what's really interesting about the Bacon Balls is it's 21 plus, and we do draw to a 21-year-old crowd, but we get people all the way up into their 60s coming.
Nice. That's amazing.
There's someone who has MS who shows up with their walker and parties with everybody and is embraced by everybody.
So really it's not so much a ball as it is a celebration of a community.
Yeah, that's a really good way of phrasing it. Absolutely. I'm going to steal that. It's community is the core element of Bacon Ball, and that's what's grown around it, and is, at least to us, what started as a platform for us to have the space to play our music and be our dorky selves, has really more turned into this heartwarming community that sustains itself, that wants to take part, that wants to contribute, that wants to be a part of something larger, and the sum of the parts is larger than the whole with Bacon Ball.
So as performers, we have our alter egos, the sides of us that the people in our day jobs don't get to see. What is your alter ego like? What does he look like? What does he sound like? Does he talk?
He does talk. He speaks in English.
That's good.
My alter ego has taken on several forms. Most recently, I just go by Jake Clark, though. I've been in a couple of musical partnerships in the past that I've had different names. But as I've kind of emerged through it all, I've decided to just recognize myself as Jake Clark, and I think I'm really the same person on stage that I am when I'm in the crowd. And I think that's a part of what helps me connect with my crowd. I don't try to stand there it's not limelight time for the DJ. This is limelight time for the crowd. So I'm merely a component and a facilitator of that.
So are all the DJs within the Bacon Ball community, are they all kind of the one mind collective that it's all about the audience? Or is it more, are some of them more outwardly performing than others? Or
Yeah, good question. I would say, so like I said, we've got 3 core Savory Events residents who play the shows because that's what we initially intended, and again, our own outlet. And yeah, I would say we're that way. But as we've grown and expanded, of course, wanting to avoid stagnation in what musical performances are there and available for our crowd, we've brought in outside artists. We've started booking outside artists. So part of that booking process is, one, we try to look for DJs who we would, I guess, consider our people. But even outside of that, if they haven't heard of the Bacon Ball, we kind of give them insight. Much like what we're doing here today, is just say, yes, this is a dance music show, and yes, your music is a core element of that, but here's all the surrounding components of it, and this is what we actually expect your experience personally will be, which will be a very connective one. And it's been really fun to watch these DJs who haven't really heard of Bacon Ball, haven't ever attended, come in and see this very different experience happening and be able to take part in it. And not only do we get that heartwarming response from our crowd, but we get it from our booked artists as well. And the same goes for other performers outside of the music, the aerial circus performers. We have live body painters, live canvas painters. We, at our summer show, had somebody doing impromptu live graffiti. He was one of the attendees and came up and said, "I really like doing live graffiti. Would you let me?" I was like, "Please do it." So it has become a platform for other forms of art, and as we find creative ways to incorporate that, it only grows.
That's great. As far as the evolution of the Bacon Ball, in every show that everybody does, there's always that one awkward moment. What's the one most memorable awkward moment that you can take away from the previous Bacon Balls?
The last show, we blew the circuit breakers. And so in the middle of my set, thank God it was my set, the sound went out. And all that was working were the booth monitors. But the booth monitors were so loud I had no idea. So I was just up there raging and having a great time, and unbeknownst to me, the crowd's barely hearing it. So that was kind of one of those moments. We've been lucky that every show has gone very smoothly. There haven't been a lot of big awkward uh-ohs, minus the sound going out at the last show. And that was maybe a 15-minute problem, and then it came back.
Well, that's good.
The show, we're renting a giant generator.
Good call. Well, I'm glad you're planning ahead and learning from your past there. That's awesome. In regards to your influences and where you draw your music from, where does it all come from? Where did it start, and how have you evolved as an artist?
Actually, you before we got into the interview, you'd asked me kind of what genres are played at Bacon Ball, and primarily you hear a lot of house music. And house music, for lack of a better way of saying it, is like saying rock and roll. I mean, there's a huge, that's the tip of the iceberg, and there's 1,000 subgenres of rock and roll, and the same goes for house. So you hear a lot of diverse sounds all within the same genre. But for me, my passion as a DJ started in trance. And I was spinning trance shows around town, and I just kind of took I think as a musician, sometimes there's an aspect to it where you are searching for inspiration at all times, and your inspiration and where you draw that inspiration from kind of morphs. And I would say my biggest inspiration in dance music is an artist named Matt Zoe. He's from the UK, and it's been interesting to observe his path through music. Mine has very similarly mimicked his. He started as a trance producer and DJ, and has slowly just dabbled in all these other genres. And of all of the artists I've heard and seen perform live, he is the most interesting to me because he incorporates different genres beyond house music, beyond trance music, and different sonic palettes all into his one musical journey, like I'd mentioned before. And so a lot of my sets have turned into everything but the kitchen sink. I have now gone from being once inspired totally by trance, moving into house, dabbling and experimenting in bass, trap, hip hop, and now you hear a lot of those elements come all into my set. Lately, a lot of my focus has gone towards funky, disco, funk, new disco.
So when you're drawing in these elements, do you find yourself going back to the same artist but different aspects of their music, or do you dig a little bit deeper?
Both, honestly. Sometimes when I struggle with inspiration, I go way back in time, both in my own music library and the artists I used to listen to, and touch base again with kind of where it all started for me. And that usually grows a new branch and takes a whole new leg of its own inspiration. And so, yeah, it is touching base back and cycling back, but then watching where that new journey takes me to, and then blending that with the other ones, if that makes sense.
Kind of weaving weaving a story or a tapestry.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, totally.
That's great. The Bacon Ball, it's just around the corner, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So how close around the corner are we? When do we get a party?
Today's the...
And what should I wear?
Okay, so we're almost a month out, and this is the fun part. This is where both internally with Savory Events and you start to see this activity on the Facebook event page, people start getting really excited. You're going to start seeing a lot of memes, really dorky memes pop up on the Facebook page.
And what's the Facebook page again?
So the Savory Events Facebook page is facebook.com/Savory Events PDX. And then if you just search on Facebook, Bacon Ball X or 10, Bacon Ball 10, Deep Space Swine is the theme for this. All of them are themed, so this one's a space theme. And
I heard that people can actually personally contact you about this event.
Mm-hmm.
So where can freaks, geeks, superstars, and regular folks like me find you?
You're always welcome to email me, jake@getsavory.com. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook. I'm easy to find on Facebook. And that has been one of the funnest parts of this, is learning more about the community, having the community outreach, and being able to just rub shoulders with these people because they're so fantastic.
Awesome. And so I know obviously you're going to be a featured DJ, and your local base.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the international artist or national artist that you're bringing in? Who are the heavy hitters that you're excited to see?
Yeah, we're really excited for our lineup this time. So lineup consists of myself, Peter Shepard, who just goes by Shepard, Ethan Moses, who goes by Noble Theft. Those are the Savory residents. And then booked outside of us, we have Jamie Burton and Mitch Rhymes. They're house artists. They are part of the Main Squeeze crew and label locally here in Portland, and they are a phenomenal duo. They both play independent and sometimes go back-to-back, and we've got them set up on a back-to-back set, playing for an hour and a half, and we are so stoked to hear what they're going to bring. And then our main feature for the night is an artist named Jason Burns. Jason is actually local to Portland, but known nationally.
Wow.
And we're really excited to showcase him. He generally plays in deep house, but he's a really wide-ranging and talented artist and producer. A lot of his music gets premiered through a lot of the online dance music blogs and outlets that are really well known. And he goes on tour nationally too from time to time. So he's going to be kind of in our main slot for the night. And then following him up is another local artist named Joshua Burson. He and I actually used to be in a music partnership together known as Rare Club. And for the majority of the Bacon Balls prior, we've played together as Rare Club. Since then, we've both kind of split off and decided to follow our own independent passions. And it's been so cool to see where he's gone even since Rare Club. And
so it's going to be a nice evolution of the
yeah,
Bacon Ball this time.
And it's going to be so cool to bring him back full circle and hear the way that his musicianship has changed since he last graced the stage. And I'm really excited to hear what he's going to bring. And then, again, closing out will be Shepard.
So you've got a lot of artists to cram in. What time does this start and how long does it run? This sounds like an epic night of partying.
It goes a while. So show starts 9 o'clock. We go till 4 in the morning.
Wow.
Generally, we usually, because we have about 100 amazing people left over at the end of the show, both they and us want to go a little bit longer. So the fun, like 4 to 4:30 half-hour slot, often is left to the Savory residents to get up there and just dork around with each other, have a really fun time with these last stragglers, and then we turn on the lights, but we keep DJing.
You better rest up, Buttercup. That sounds like a big night.
It's kind of intense.
That's amazing. So I want to introduce this clip of last year's Bacon Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about the clip.
So we've actually got 2 clips. They're both from the same show. This was basically our biggest show of the year last year. So our goal now has gone to do the regularly sized Bacon Balls quarterly, but our summer show is kind of the big blowout. So last one was Summer Mayhem, because we are all about thematic puns. And we had 2 stages, same venue, indoor stage, outdoor stage. These clips are of the outdoor stage, kind of positioned from the Hawthorne Bridge. We've got a drone shot, and then we've got one from the crowd's perspective.
Awesome. Well, I'm Rob Wessels. This is Portland Metro Records Off the Record, And thank you for coming in, Jake Clark.
Thanks,
I really
Rob.
appreciate your time. I'm really excited about your show.
Thank you.
This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Have a great night, all.
Now is my preference. November 29, no doubt I was destined. All in due time, it'll happen, no stressing. Let it breathe, then apply pressure. Doing last round, competition better catch up. Never slay opponents and I spare none. Call a coroner, put them back together. Leave them all severed, they ain't on my level. Gotta be careful, wordplay clever. Hell raising when I'm trailblazing. Winning on the road and it feels amazing. But when I come home, everybody's favorite. Get love from the city when they start parading. Celebration, they know the winner. We get things popping in the motor center. 5 on the clock, got 4 defenders. DL with a shot when I go to finish.